SpaceX, Blue Origin, and now Virgin Galactic has made its mark in space tourism. After a tragic spaceplane crash in mid-air that cost co-pilot his life and injured a pilot, things seemed bleak for the company. But guess what? 20 years in, Virgin Galactic flipped the script. They pulled off their first ever commercial launch, flying paying customers to the edge of space on the 29th of June. But get this, Jeff Bezos says Virgin Galactic's spaceplane does not soar as high as his New Shepard. Has Virgin Galactic deliberately aimed lower, or is there a technical shortcoming they are struggling with? Subscribe to the channel and let's talk about it. This is Adventures in Space. Let's kick things off with the flight itself. This mission was named Galactic 1. On the big day, June 29th, a dual-fuselage carrier aircraft named VMS Eve took off from New Mexico, carrying VSS Unity, Virgin Galactic's spaceplane, snug under its wing. Climbing to an altitude of about 44,500 feet, VMS Eve released VSS Unity, and that's when things got really exciting for the people aboard. VSS Unity, piloted by two top-notch astronauts, fired up its rocket engine and shot up like a missile. As the engine roared, Unity zipped upwards, reaching speeds of Mach 2.88. That's 3 times the speed of sound, faster than most of us will ever travel. The space plane then cruised up to an altitude of approximately 52.9 miles, right to the edge of space. And here's the funny part. Even though Galactic 1 was a commercial flight planned for paying passengers, there were still no tourists on board. There were only crew members for scientific research. Let's put names to these faces. The passengers aboard Unity for this historic journey were members of the Italian Air Force and Italy's National Research Council. These passengers conducted 13 experiments on their way to the edge of space. Other than the scientific research, they had the ride of their life. The total flight time was 90 minutes, out of which they experienced 5 minutes of weightlessness and gazed at our blue planet from way up high. It was not a cheap trip, though. The tickets were sold at a staggering price of $450,000 per seat. Virgin Galactic also has quite the waiting list, around 800 people deep, many of which bought the tickets at prices ranging from $200,000 to $250,000 years ago. The wait is over for these people because now that Virgin Galactic's first commercial launch has succeeded, it plans to complete a trip every month starting from the coming August. But let's rewind a bit. Virgin Galactic did not just pop up out of nowhere. This company, founded by Richard Branson, has been dreaming big and working hard for over 2 decades. Their aim? To make space tourism a reality. And their spaceplane, VSS Unity, has been their trusty steed in this adventurous quest. In 2007, the road was rocked by a severe blow. During a routine ground test, a rocket explosion at Scaled Composites, the company that was building Virgin's spaceships at that time, tragically killed 3 engineers. Unbowed, the team pressed on. They commenced subspace test flights, progressively pushing the limits of their technology. But in 2014, another devastating accident occurred. The VSS Enterprise, the first of Virgin's spaceplanes, crashed and broke in half during a test flight. Yet from the ashes of these setbacks, Virgin Galactic emerged more determined than ever. In 2016, they rolled out VSS Unity, an upgraded and more robust version of its predecessor. Then, in 2021, Spaceship 3 joined the fleet, showcasing Virgin Galactic's continued commitment to expanding space access. The VSS Unity, designed to carry 6 passengers along with 2 pilots, is no ordinary plane. It boasts a unique feathering system for stability during re-entry and a hybrid rocket motor that allows it to reach suborbital altitudes and offer passengers an awe-inspiring view of Earth and a few minutes of weightlessness. But as you know, Virgin Galactic is not alone in its space race. We also have Blue Origin's New Shepard. This reusable rocket lifts its passengers around 62 miles above the Earth, placing them just beyond the Kármán line. The Kármán line, located at an altitude of 100 kilometers, is recognized by the Fédération Aéronautique Internationale as the boundary of space. At this altitude, the atmosphere is too thin to support conventional flight. It is also where Jeff Bezos can confidently say, "Welcome to space." When we compare it with Virgin Galactic, VSS Unity peaks at an altitude of 53 miles, or approximately 85 kilometers. While this falls short of the Kármán line, it is well beyond the 50-mile mark that NASA and the Federal Aviation Administration recognize as the edge of space. It is a difference that has led to some debate about who really qualifies as an astronaut. And guess what? Blue Origin, which follows the international standard, does not count Virgin Galactic's passengers as astronauts. But ask any of Unity's passengers floating in microgravity, and they would certainly say they have been to space. Then we have SpaceX. In a class of its own, SpaceX's collaboration with Axiom Space outperforms both in terms of altitude and duration. Axiom is not just providing a quick trip to the edge of space. It is offering a multi-day sojourn around Earth, with some travelers spending up to 2 weeks aboard the International Space Station. It is an experience that truly fulfills Musk's vision of humans not just visiting, but living in space, even if it is just for 3 days. The reason Virgin Galactic cannot match Blue Origin's and SpaceX's altitudes is a matter of design and purpose. Virgin Galactic's spaceplane, Spaceship Two, is built for suborbital flight. Achieving orbit requires 32 times the energy budget of a suborbital flight. So it is like comparing a sprint with a marathon. They are simply different races. However, none of these details takes away from Virgin Galactic's accomplishments. They have pushed the boundaries of what is possible and opened a new frontier in space tourism. Yes, their spaceplane might not reach the Kármán line or achieve orbital velocity, but they have taken the first steps in making space accessible to more than just professional astronauts. And that, in itself, is a giant leap for mankind. Now, I have to ask you this. Given the opportunity, which of these 3 flights would you choose? A quick dip into suborbital space with Virgin Galactic, a multi-day journey with SpaceX, or a balanced in-between trip on New Shepard? Let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel to stay updated on everything aerospace industry related and more. Please make sure to give this video some love with just a simple like, since it's really helped the channel out and you have 2 videos right in front of you to watch next. As always, this was Georgie with Adventures in Space, and I will see you at the next one.